The fix is in. The Sports Fix.
Portions of the Sports Fix brought to you by Fantasy Jocks. Visit fantasyjocks.com, your fantasy sports superstore. Championship belts, rings, trophies, and more.
Sports Fix listeners, don't wait all day or all week to get in on the fun. The party doesn't stop when we go off the air all week long. The Sports Fix social media sites are your one-stop shop for all things Cleveland sports. Jump over to Facebook.com/TheSportsFix, Facebook.com/TheSportsFix, and become a fan today because we love fans and they create some of the best sports talk in town, Daddy. You'll enjoy talking to your fellow Cleveland sports fans on the Sports Fix fan page. And if Twitter's your thing, well, you know how we do it. Tweet with us at TheSportsFixCLE. It's that simple. Twitter.com/TheSportsFixCLE, baby. Chat live with the crew during all your favorite Cleveland sports events, tickets and contests and trivia and so much more. Get with us today, The Sports Fix on social media, Facebook.com/TheSportsFix. Tweet with us at TheSportsFixCLE. Join the Sports Fix on Facebook and Twitter today.
This is Greg Pruitt, formerly of the Cleveland Browns, and you're listening to The Sports Fix.
Live in Ohio, it's time to get your fix. The Sports Fix.
Welcome in, everybody. We are live, back on the air, really live. Like live here. It's Friday, the day after Christmas. We are on the air, off and running, with an end-of-the-week edition of the Sports Fix here. Had to come live at least one time this week, and don't let my cheerful smile belie the fact that if you had only been behind the scenes this morning, it was a frustrating morning behind the scenes of the Sports Fix. But hey, you know what? Who cares? Once the mic cracks, we're on the air. It's off and running and downhill from there. It's going to be a compact edition, and this is not the normal me saying it, and then we're going to go for 16 hours after I told you we're going to go short. This is a compact edition of the Sports Fix here. Wanted to go live. Jeff Gorman from Browns101.com. He's going to be with us here just about 15-20 minutes from now. We're going to preview the Ravens here coming up this weekend, talk about the week that was for the Browns. Hey, the week that was in Cleveland sports in general wasn't all that pretty here this week, which is one of the reasons I was glad we ran best of programming earlier in the week, because what was I going to do? What were we going to do? Come on the air on Monday. I mentioned this a little bit during the best of shows this week that I was hosting. What were we going to do? Crack the mic on Monday and start talking about you-know-who getting broken in 6 quarters, and then, looking for quarterback number 22, because we don't even know if they can go back to the standby, old, reliable number 6 because he's banged up, or maybe I should have talked about how they had a really boring football game against a bad football team and they lost it on the road. I didn't know how to come on Monday. I said, you know what? We're not messing up Christmas week here. I told you guys that on Tuesday. We're not going to sit here and do this. If anybody wants, we've got 6 months to break down the end of this Browns season and who they're going to draft and who they're going to evaluate and who the quarterback's going to be and blah, blah, blah. We got plenty of time for that. Hell, I'm sitting here trying to figure out how to get through today's show without beating myself in the head with a sledgehammer because of whether you want to talk about quarterbacks, whether you want to talk about Achilles tendons as the injury bug not just hits but cripples the Cavaliers. You saw that clear as day yesterday. Hell, the one guy that actually shows up and plays defense 99% of the time isn't there. What are these guys going to do now? Because as you saw yesterday, speaking of the Cavaliers, damn sure ain't nobody out there playing defense yesterday in the LeBron James Classic. We'll talk about that. See, that's what I mean. This week was a difficult week. I was glad to have Christmas to take us off the beaten path, because this was a struggle to get through here in Cleveland sports. We're going to talk about it. As I said, Jeff Gorman's going to be with us. We'll get that thing rolling. We'll do a preview here. None of the usual suspects are here today. It's me and Jeff holding down the fort, getting you into the weekend. We'll talk Cavaliers. We'll talk that game yesterday. We're going to talk Browns and Ravens. Preview the Baltimore Ravens with Jeff Gorman. We'll get into some of your phone calls. I'm going to open up the phone lines. If anybody's listening live, wants to call in today, we'll set the stage for the weekend. NFL, big final weekend of games here as teams get ready to head into the playoffs. There's some positioning being jockeyed for. There's opportunities and spots open here and all that. We'll go through that. Monsters got a big weekend. Everybody's getting back into action after the holidays, and we are too, so let's do it. Welcome in, my friends, to the Sports Fix. I'm your host, the Big Daddy on the microphone. J-Rock, Jerry Myers with you guys here. Another Friday, heading into the weekend across the Sports Fix Radio Network. Welcome in, all of you, whether you're listening live on TuneIn and TuneIn's radio app worldwide, enjoying the show on Spreaker and Mixler, their respective digital applications. Welcome in everybody listening around the world on the sportsfix.net, our home base where the show launches live each and every weekday at noon. And welcome in thousands of you around the world each day who listen 24 hours a day on iHeartRadio, the world's largest internet radio provider. Digital delay sites like iTunes and Stitcher Radio and SoundCloud and all of the different places, DAR FM, the different sites, the World of MP3. I see that. I don't know that every week. I see a couple of hundred downloads from there. I'm like, I don't even know what World of MP3 is, but shout out to the couple hundred guys there that are listening to the show on it, man. I'm with it. I don't know how you got it, but I'm not at that point where I'm complaining just yet. A little bit bigger, and maybe the legal department will have to get involved. But for now, I'll embrace it. Well, anyways, having fun, you guys. Welcome in, all of you, no matter how you listen to the show. Thank you for doing it and for being a part of the show. And you can do that in so many different ways. Do it today. Pick up the phone. Give us a call. 216-539-7535. 216-539-7535, the number to call. Hit us up, Facebook and Twitter and email, facebook.com/thesportsfix. Tweet with us at the Sports Fix CLE. Email us, thesportsfix@AOL.com, facebook.com/thesportsfix. Tweet with us at the Sports Fix CLE. Email us, thesportsfix@AOL.com. You guys, before we even dive into, there's a lot of bad stuff to get into. Before we do, a couple of things that I wanted to hit on you guys early on here in the show. First thing, and this is just a personal thing, I'm going to do my best. I've got the mute button loaded here. I'm going to do my best that I don't blow your ears out. But there's a viral infection. I don't want to say it's an infection. There's a cough, whatever a dry viral deal going around our house here. I'm not sick per se. Goodness, I had my one sickness for the winter time already a few weeks back. But actually, my son had to spend a few hours Christmas Eve in the ER there. They had to give him some asteroids, as he told me when he was done, though. But a viral infection going around, a dry cough, it's amazing how quickly those things go. They come out of nowhere. So, nobody's sick, but a house full of dry hacking people. So I sat here this morning and I said, man, well, I'm just going to warn them ahead of time and do my best not to blow anybody's eardrums away, but if I do, I apologize. Definitely a dry cough going around this household for sure. Other than that, though, Christmas. Well, other than that, and no snow. I don't know. We say all the time, people around the world listening to the show. So I'm sure somebody out there listening right now is like, "Hey, shut up, man! I'm digging out of 3 feet of snow today." But I'm jealous. I wish I was you. I can't lie. It's the one time of the year that I want snow, and we not only do we not have it. Last night, I think about midnight, I smelled somebody next door's got the fire pit going. You can hear people outside. I go step on the porch. I'm like, man, it's a balmy 60 degrees out here on 57 degrees, whatever it was on Christmas Eve. That ain't right. That ain't right, man. That's all I can say. Where's the snow? I'm not a big freezing my buns off kind of guy, except on Christmas. There's got to be, and not only was it not a white Christmas, but it was a tropical Christmas for Cleveland, for Clevelanders anyway, with what we're used to around here, man. So maybe that kind of takes the mood down a little bit too. I don't know. I'm curious, you guys. This has nothing to do with sports. I don't care. I'm going off the beaten path here for a minute, but hit me up over the weekend and tell me if you guys are with me. Does that make it any less Christmassy for you guys? No snow, not having the feel. I don't know, man. That that does make it a little bit different for me, man. And I was driving home from some relatives last night, and I was thinking about this exact thing. I'm like, man, you sure wouldn't be missing the snow if you were driving around trying to get through 3 feet of snow like we usually are, and all of that stuff, man. You sure wouldn't be waxing nostalgic today if you were freezing out here trying to push the car through a snowdrift. But when there's no snow and it's all balmy outside, then, and I'm sure a lot of us did this, then you sit around and start complaining that you don't have any snow. It would have been a white Christmas, and it would have been a little bit different. Of course, Charles, because you're out in the tropical region. Not really that tropical down in the Carolinas, but it's tropical enough. 70 degrees for my man Charles in the chat room. So I don't know if you guys had some snow. I'm a little bit jealous of you. I'm not going to lie. A little bit jealous of you, but I'm sure in a couple of weeks it won't matter. We'll get all the snow that we should have had for Christmas, and we'll get some of your snow too here in Cleveland. So I'm pretty sure that in a couple of weeks somebody is going to send me a message and go, "Oh, is that what you were saying? Day after Christmas? Yeah? Are you happy now?" Yeah. So, but it does change it a little bit for me. It takes away a little bit of that Christmassy spirit, but I do the best I can to stay in the jolly spirit. Did the best I could this week too. Speaking of the Christmas spirit, you guys, hopefully you enjoyed earlier in the week. Went and dug out from the archives quite a few different throwback interviews for you guys. Dan Coughlin was a Monday, a lengthy sit down Jonathan Knight and I got a chance to do with him a couple of years ago. Tuesday, we brought you some audio from Tom Hamilton from just a few weeks back here on the show, as well Carlos Baerga from the Indians. Wednesday, Christmas Eve, not the night with Joe Tate that we play every Christmas. That's like kind of my Christmas tradition, man. 20 years from now, if the Sports Fix is still around, we'll be playing that on Christmas. But the follow-up interview that we did as well, 2 different Joe Tate interviews, got a chance to put a lot of that out. And I'll tell you, I was pleasantly surprised with not only the amount of people that listened, because, you know, when you're dealing with best of and a holiday week, your numbers are going to be down anyway, just because even the most hardcore listeners are inundated with other things to do, and I totally get that. So you go into this week expecting things like that, but I was a bit surprised at how well the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday shows held up here. I said, man, that means, but you know what? I probably shouldn't be, because a lot of this past year we've grown the audience quite a bit. So anybody that has come along in the last 12 months wouldn't have heard any of those interviews, because none of those were replayed at any time this year. This was the only time we've ever dug into those archives. So there was, you know, quite a few handfuls of people there that got a chance to experience those for the first time. So that was pretty cool, and hopefully you guys enjoyed those, and we brought them to you. And next week it'll be the same, most definitely. Next week we will be live a couple of days in studio. I'm positive we're going to be live on Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. Most likely it'll be recorded programming on Wednesday, Thursday. I think I'm counting those days out right in my head. Whatever. New Year's Eve, New Year's Day will most likely be best of programming again, and we'll be live the other couple of days next week as well, as things start to get back to usual here on the Sports Fix. There's a lot of things to get into next week and talk about it. Brown season will be coming to an end, which changes the dynamic about all of that, but there's playoffs coming, Cavalier season rolling, and all of that. We got a lot of things to pick up the slack as we roll. And as I saw my guys in the chat room say, we're 100 days from spring training, baby, getting rolling. Baseball coming back. And actually, no, that 100 days from the beginning of baseball, right, guys? Yeah, that's not the beginning of spring training. That's the beginning of baseball season. I think spring training, we're down to, what, 70 days, 60 days, something like that. Something like that. Anyway, somebody in the chat room will give me the report on that. But let's get into a little bit of the week. And I wanted to stall. That's the reason I wanted to talk about all these other things. I said, man, I can't just start off the show day after Christmas with the sledgehammer called Cleveland Sports beating people upside the head. This guy got hurt. This guy stinks. Blah, blah, blah. But let's dive into some of the stuff we haven't had a chance to talk about here this week. I've got Jeff Gorman coming up just about 5 minutes from now from Browns101.com. So let's talk a little football. We'll prime the pump. Take a break. We'll get Jeff Gorman on the airwaves. We'll look ahead. Browns, of course, this weekend, final game of the season. They're taking on the Baltimore Ravens, the former Cleveland Browns. Ravens have to win this game to get themselves into the playoffs, so they are definitely in must-win mode, much like Carolina was last week. Browns are just looking for 22 healthy players to put on the field at this point on offense and defense, and throw a few of them out there for special teams and hope that they can get through it. I mean, seriously, we have not even been live earlier in the week to talk about it. Johnny Manziel last week. You guys have talked about it, I'm sure, in the interim to death, but he goes down 6 quarters into 7, whatever you want to break it down, into that NFL career. And